Aptera just confirmed something that a lot of people in the community had already been suspecting for quite some time. The Launch Edition all-wheel drive is officially off the table, and front-wheel drive is now the confirmed setup. If you already have a Launch Edition Aptera on order, your configuration is being switched automatically to front-wheel drive without any action needed. Aptera will provide guidance later for anyone who would genuinely prefer to wait for the all-wheel drive model instead. But here is the part that actually makes this easier to accept if you were hoping for all-wheel drive originally. Aptera has confirmed they still have full plans to develop and release an all-wheel drive version further down the road. It just does not make practical sense to build it right now given the unique three-wheel layout Aptera is working with. If you look at how the rear of the vehicle tapers off, there simply is not enough room for a traditional drive unit back there. The front is a completely different story, because that nose cone area has enough space to house a proper inboard motor comfortably. This is where the Vitesco EMR3 drivetrain comes in, and honestly, it is a much stronger choice than most people are giving it credit for. The EMR3 is not some experimental or unproven component that Aptera is gambling the Launch Edition on at all. This is a drivetrain that is already out on the market, already tested, and already powering close to 1 million electric vehicles on the road today. That kind of real-world validation is something you simply cannot replicate by running a handful of prototypes around a test track. Even 10 prototypes driving 1,000 miles a month cannot match the mileage and data Vitesco already has on the EMR3 in the field. That proven reliability was clearly one of the biggest reasons Aptera made this switch when you look at the full picture. The hub motors that Aptera had originally planned to use with ALAF were interesting, but they were fundamentally untested at production scale. Rushing unproven hub motors into a Launch Edition would have been a real risk that could have created serious problems down the road. If issues showed up after mass production that testing did not catch, that would have been a far worse outcome for everyone waiting. Switching to the EMR3 removes that risk entirely and replaces it with a component that already has a proven track record behind it. Now let us talk about the actual performance numbers, because this is where things get genuinely exciting for anyone paying close attention. The Gamma prototype that Aptera used for testing was all-wheel drive and used hub motors across the 3 wheels of the vehicle. Those hub motors in the Gamma prototype produced a combined peak output of around 127 kilowatts across all 3 wheels total. The EMR3 drivetrain that Aptera is now switching to can output 150 kilowatts from a single motor in the front of the vehicle. That means the Launch Edition Aptera will technically be more powerful with one motor than it would have been with 3 hub motors combined. Let that sink in for a second, because that is a genuinely remarkable outcome from what many people assumed was a downgrade situation. You are getting more power, a lighter drivetrain, a simpler system, and a component backed by nearly 1 million real-world vehicles already. Chris McCammon also shared some additional details in the Discord after the announcement that added even more context to this decision. He confirmed that the EMR3 drive unit is actually slightly lighter than the in-wheel hub motors they had originally planned to use. That weight reduction likely comes from eliminating a significant amount of high-voltage wiring that the hub motor setup would have required. With hub motors mounted outward near the wheels, you have high-voltage wiring running a long distance away from the core of the vehicle. That is not just a weight issue either, because there are real safety implications to having high-voltage wiring that far out on the vehicle. If one of those outward-mounted wheels were ever sheared off in an accident, the exposed wiring situation could have been genuinely dangerous. With the EMR3 sitting right in the nose cone, all of that concern disappears completely because everything is centralized and contained up front. The inverter is already integrated into the EMR3 unit itself, which means Aptera does not need to add separate inverter hardware at all. This simplification ripples through the entire build process and makes the vehicle easier to assemble, easier to maintain, and more reliable overall. One of the most exciting things about this switch, though, is what it means for how Aptera can customize and improve the vehicle going forward. Even though the EMR3 is an off-the-shelf component from Vitesco, Aptera still fully owns the software for the vehicle control unit themselves. That vehicle control unit is essentially the brain that tells the motor how to behave under every different driving condition you encounter. Because Aptera controls that software, they can push over-the-air updates that change how the motor responds without you doing anything at all. You could receive an update that gives you a bad weather mode that detects wheel slip earlier and responds more conservatively to keep you safe. Or imagine a track mode that loosens up the traction control and lets the motor deliver full power when you just want to have some fun. These are not features that require new hardware or a trip to a service center because they arrive through a software update directly. The vehicle you drive home on day one could perform noticeably differently a year later thanks to continued software development from the Aptera team. That kind of ongoing improvement potential is something you do not always get with traditional automotive powertrains, and it is genuinely exciting here. Someone in the Discord also asked Chris directly whether Aptera would ever charge extra to unlock performance improvements through a software update. His response was a flat and immediate never, and that answer alone says a lot about the culture Aptera is trying to build here. He made it very clear that unlocking performance through software is not something Aptera intends to put behind a paywall ever. That commitment matters because some automakers have tried charging for features that are already physically present in the vehicle through software locks. Aptera is clearly signaling they want none of that, and that every owner gets the full benefit of every improvement that gets pushed out. Now, back to the performance question that a lot of Launch Edition buyers are genuinely worried about after hearing the all-wheel drive news today. The concern is understandable because all-wheel drive has become almost synonymous with maximum performance and acceleration in the EV world right now. But consider what the EMR3 is actually working with here in a vehicle that weighs only around 2,000 pounds at the finished production weight. You have a motor capable of 150 kilowatts, which translates to roughly 200 horsepower being pushed through a vehicle that barely weighs anything. The limiting factor for 0 to 60 in this configuration is almost certainly going to be tire grip rather than available motor power. That front axle is going to light up the moment the motor delivers full torque, and the tires are simply going to struggle to keep up. In a strange way, all-wheel drive might have been too much for the Launch Edition at this weight because traction is already the ceiling here. 2 wheels in the front and 1 in the back already gives you more front grip than a traditional 2-wheel layout would provide in most situations. So while all-wheel drive would theoretically be better for traction, the gap in real-world performance may end up being much smaller than expected. My honest prediction is that the front-wheel drive Launch Edition is going to be shockingly fast, and probably faster than most owners ever actually need. When I drove the Gamma prototype with the hub motors, that thing was genuinely wild, and that was a prototype, not a production-tuned vehicle. A production-intent vehicle with a more powerful motor and refined software calibration is almost certainly going to feel even more impressive than that prototype. The 0 to 60 time will be officially confirmed once the Pi 2 prototype is assembled and rigged up with the full production-intent battery pack. Aptera has said that should happen within the next 6 to 8 weeks, which is really not that far away in the grand scheme of things. Once the Pi 2 is running at full power, they will be able to do proper launch testing and fine-tune the power delivery for production. That fine-tuning process is where they will figure out exactly how to deliver all that power without overwhelming the front tires on every launch. It is worth noting that the Pi 2 has already been in development for quite a while, and it was designed with the EMR3 in mind. Parts are already showing up at the factory for the Pi 2 right now, which means assembly is imminent and testing will follow very soon after. Aptera also confirmed that the Pi 2 should be fully assembled and driving around under its own power by the end of August at the latest. The fact that the Pi 2 was already being designed around the EMR3 tells you something very important about how long this plan has been in motion. This was not a last-minute scramble or a panic switch because something catastrophically failed with the original hub motor development plan suddenly. Aptera had clearly been working toward this decision for a considerable amount of time and simply waited for the official green light from Vitesco. The carbon body, the exterior shell, and all the structural components were already being prepared to accommodate an inboard motor in the nose cone. Nothing about the exterior design needs to fundamentally change because the vehicle was already being built to work with this kind of drivetrain layout. There was some community discussion about why Aptera did not simply select the EMR3, which is a newer motor from the same Vitesco family. The answer comes down to three practical factors that Aptera weighed when making the final decision between the two available options from Vitesco. The EMR3 is more expensive than the EMR3, which matters significantly when you are trying to keep the production vehicle affordable and scalable. The EMR3 is also slightly larger than the EMR3, which creates packaging challenges inside the existing Aptera nose cone design they are already committed to. And the EMR3 already has that real-world track record with nearly 1 million vehicles on the road, while the EMR3 is comparatively newer and less proven. When you put all three of those factors together, the EMR3 was clearly the right choice for where Aptera is right now in their journey. Some people in the community have also raised the winter driving concern and whether front-wheel drive is going to be a problem in snowy conditions. I understand why that concern exists, because all-wheel drive has been marketed so heavily as the solution to winter driving for a long time now. But honestly, I think the winter driving conversation is more about tires than it is about whether you have all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. My mother has been driving a 2007 Hyundai Elantra her entire life, and that car is front-wheel drive with absolutely no all-wheel drive capability. She lives about an hour away from the Canadian border and drives through serious snow for several months out of every single year without issue. The difference is that she runs proper snow tires in the winter, and those tires make a far bigger difference than the drivetrain configuration does. A front-wheel drive vehicle on quality winter tires is going to outperform an all-wheel drive vehicle on worn all-season tires in almost every scenario. So if winter driving is your concern with the Aptera Launch Edition, start thinking about tire selection rather than mourning the all-wheel drive configuration. There is also a broader point worth making here about what the hub motor delay would have actually meant for the Aptera production timeline overall. If Aptera had stuck with the ALAF hub motors and pushed forward without switching, the production delays would almost certainly have gotten longer, not shorter. Unproven motors require more testing, more calibration, more iteration, and more time before you can confidently mass produce and ship them to customers. Every week spent chasing hub motor reliability issues is a week that Launch Edition customers are still waiting for a vehicle they have already paid for. The EMR3 switch essentially fast-tracks the path to production by removing the biggest technical unknown that was sitting in front of the launch timeline. That is a trade that benefits every single person on the reservation list, even if it does not feel that way in the immediate emotional reaction. It also keeps the door open for hub motors to come back in a future version once ALAF and Aptera have had more time to refine the technology properly. Aptera has made it clear they are still actively interested in working with ALAF and still see hub motors as part of the long-term vision for the vehicle. One possibility that has been floated is that the future all-wheel drive variant could combine the front EMR3 with a single hub motor added at the rear. That configuration would keep the high-voltage wiring concentrated at the front while only adding a single hub motor to the rear wheel for the extra traction. It is a cleaner approach than routing wiring to all three wheels, and it preserves the simplicity that makes the current front-wheel drive layout so attractive. Whether that ends up being the actual path Aptera takes remains to be seen, but it is a logical direction given everything they have communicated so far. And honestly, for a vehicle that weighs 2,000 pounds, the question of whether you even need a three-motor system is worth asking out loud. Even the most performance-focused driver is going to have a hard time justifying three motors in a vehicle this light and this aerodynamically efficient. The EMR3 already has electronic locking features and traction management tools built in that Aptera can tune and calibrate through the vehicle control unit software. That means the driving dynamics can be dialed in very precisely through software rather than just adding hardware to compensate for traction limitations on the road. I also want to circle back to something personal because my original Aptera reservation was actually for a front-wheel drive configuration from the very beginning. I chose front-wheel drive originally because I believed it would be lighter, more efficient, simpler to build, and easier to maintain over the long term. Nothing about this announcement changes that original reasoning, and if anything, it reinforces every single point I made when I placed that reservation. Lighter drivetrain, simpler architecture, proven components, and a vehicle control unit that Aptera fully owns and can improve through over-the-air updates indefinitely. That combination of attributes is genuinely compelling, and I think people who step back from the initial disappointment will start to see it that way too. The Pi 2 results over the next 6 to 8 weeks are going to be a major moment for the Aptera community and for the broader EV world. Seeing a production intent build running at full power with the EMR3 is going to answer a lot of the questions people are nervously asking right now. 0 to 60 numbers, power delivery feel, traction behavior at full throttle, and software responsiveness are all going to become much clearer very soon. And I genuinely believe those results are going to surprise people in the best possible way and quiet a lot of the concerns circling in the community. Aptera is making smart, calculated decisions here, and the EMR3 switch is one of the clearest examples of that disciplined thinking playing out in real time. They are not chasing the flashiest solution or the most headline-grabbing spec sheet number when a proven and practical option is sitting right in front of them. That kind of engineering discipline combined with full software ownership is exactly what you want to see from a startup trying to reach production successfully. The Launch Edition may not have all-wheel drive, but it is going to have more power, less weight, more reliability, and a brighter production timeline because of this.